Hey everybody, it's Dispeller, and today I got a little bit of a treat for somebody that might think it's a treat. I'm going to be reading, actually skipping all the way to almost the last chapter, and I'm going to do it live because I think maybe people might want to come in and comment and discuss it while I'm reading it. The other chapters I will be uploading instead of going live with them, as I've been doing. So, but this one I'm going to do live because, like I said, you can chat with me while I do it, anybody that wants to. So this one's called A Day in a Life with Boundaries. This is going to give you kind of an overview of what it looks like to have boundaries in a day, okay? So, yeah, my boundary is not to have certain parts of my body showing. Goodness gracious. All right. Remember Sherry from chapter 1? She stumbled through the day in a haphazard, out-of-control fashion. Imagine now that Sherry has read this book. She's decided to restructure her life within the clear boundaries we've outlined. Her day is now characterized by freedom, self-control, and intimacy. Let's take a peek in on her life with boundaries. And if you don't remember Sherry, I will try to post the video somewhere in one of the corners here. Okay. 6:00 a.m. The alarm sounded. Sherry reached over, turned it off. I'll bet I can do without this alarm, she thought to herself. I've been awake for 5 minutes already. Getting 7 or 8 hours of sleep had long been a fantasy of Sherry's, one which she'd always felt was unrealistic with a family. Yet it had begun to happen. The kids went to bed earlier now that she and Walt had begun setting better time limits with them. She and Walt even got a few minutes to relax together before bed. The sleep goal didn't come without its price, however. Like the other night when Sherry's mother had once again made her unexpected surprise visit, this time she showed up at a time when Sherry had to work on a science fair project with her son, Todd. It had been one of the hardest things Sherry ever had to say. Mom, I want to visit with you, but this is a really bad time. I'm helping Todd finish up his solar system project, and he needs my full attention. You could come in and watch if you'd like, or I could call you tomorrow and plan a time for us to get together. Sherry's mother hadn't reacted well. The martyr syndrome had kicked in full force. It's just as I've always known, dear. Who'd want to spend time with a lonely old lady? Well, I'll just go home and be by myself, like every other night. At one time, Sherry would have folded under such a masterful onslaught of the guilties. But Sherry had, after lots of practice with her support group, decided how to handle her mom's unexpected visits, and she didn't feel so guilty anymore. Mom would be fine the next morning, and Sherry would have had a good evening. 6:45 a.m. Sherry slipped into her new dress. It fit perfectly, 2 sizes smaller than she had worn a few months ago. Thanks God for my new self-boundaries, she prayed. Her diet and exercise program had finally worked, not because she learned any new secrets about food and working out, but because she saw taking care of herself not as selfishness, but stewardship. She'd stopped feeling guilty about taking the time away from other things to work on her body. Getting in shape made her a better wife, mom, and friend. And she liked herself better. Man, I hope I can say that soon. Because now I'm on this starch solution thing. Starch solution. Man, say that 10 times fast. And we'll see how that all goes down. Because I'm hoping it works out this time. I'm on day 2. So far, everything's good. I had quinoa, refried beans, and green beans this morning for breakfast. Quite nice. Matthew and I are going to do some grocery shopping later on, so I'll be getting some cereal, healthy cereal, and be able to add variety a little bit to my breakfast, so that should be nice. 7:15 a.m. Amy and Todd were finished with breakfast and were taking their plates to the sink to rinse them and place them into the dishwasher. Sharing household tasks had become a comfortable habit for all members of the family. Sure, the kids and Walt had resisted, but then Sherry stopped preparing breakfast until she got help with cleaning up. A miracle had happened with the kids and Walt. A light had gone on inside saying, if I don't work, I don't eat. Even more satisfying was watching the kids get to their school rides on time, with a couple minutes to spare. Beds made, housework done, lunches packed. Incredible. Of course, the path to that place had been rocky. In the beginning, Sherry had called the carpool parents and told them to wait a maximum of 60 seconds for her kids and then leave for school. And they did. When Amy and Todd missed their ride, they had accused Sherry of betraying and humiliating them. You just don't care about our feelings. Tough words for a loving mother trying to learn boundaries. Yet, with a fervent prayer life and a good support group, Sherry held to her boundaries. After a few days of having to walk and being several hours late to school, the kids had begun setting their own alarms. 7:30 a.m. Sherry put her makeup on in front of her dresser. She was still not used to this after all those years of applying eyeliner in the car's rearview mirror, but she enjoyed the peacefulness and left for work within a few minutes to spare, or with a few minutes to spare. Good morning, everybody, by the way. 8:45 a.m. Walking into the conference room of McAllister Enterprises, where she worked as a fashion consultant supervisor, the promotion she had been for leadership effectiveness, Sherry glanced at her watch. The meeting was about to start with herself as chairperson. Glancing around the room, she noted that 3 key people weren't here yet. She made a note to chat with those colleagues. Maybe they were having boundary problems she could assist them with. Sherry smiled. She remembered the days not too long ago when she would have been grateful for someone at work to help her with the same problems. Thank you, God, for a church that teaches a biblical view of the boundaries, she prayed, and began the meeting on time. 11:59 a.m. Sherry's extension rang. She picked it up. Sherry Phillips, she said, waiting for the answer. Sherry, thank goodness you're there. I don't know what I'd have done if you'd been at lunch. There was no mistaking that voice. It belonged to Lois Thompson. It was unusual for Lois to call these days. She didn't call much at all since Sherry had begun addressing the imbalances in the relationship. She had confronted Lois over coffee. Lois, it seems as though you always want to talk to me when you're hurting, and that's fine, but when I'm struggling, you're either unavailable, distracted, or uninterested. Lois had protested. This wasn't at all true. I'm a true friend, Sherry, she said. I guess we'll find out. I need to know if our friendship is based on what I do for you or on true friendship. And I want you to be aware of some boundaries I'm setting with us. First, I won't always be able to drop everything for you, Lois. I love you, but I simply can't take that kind of responsibility for your pain. And second, there will be times when I'm really hurting and I'm going to call you and ask for support. I actually don't know if you know me and my pain at all. So we both need to find out. Now, I divert a little bit here. For me, it's very rare that I call a friend to talk about my pain. First of all, I don't usually have a lot of pain except with this broken toe. I've been having some pain with that lately, but that's because I taped it too tight, I found out, and circulation wasn't getting to it. Yeah, that'll cause anybody pain. Live and learn. But I'm not usually one to go to my friends out of need of venting about how miserable I am or how I'm hurting or whatever. Now, sometimes I come on YouTube and do that. I might tell you guys I'm struggling with finances or whatever, you know. But it's not a usual thing for me as a person to do that. So this wouldn't necessarily apply to me. But yes, I have had friendships or relationships with people where they felt very one-sided. Like if they would come to me and pour their heart out about whatever. And then even if I would just talk to them about something that's going right in my life, they'd just be like, yeah, so blah, blah, blah. And they just go talking on about themselves. So that's one-sided relationships, and they're not fun. They're not rewarding. They're really not worth it. So I won't have those kind of relationships anymore. If I sense that a relationship is that way, I usually cut it off pretty quick because I don't like being used, basically. It's got to be a mutual thing. All right. It was sad to find out that a childhood connection had never really flourished into a mutual attachment. Lois simply couldn't come out of her self-centeredness enough to want to understand Sherry's world. But back to the phone call. Sherry answered, Lois, I'm glad you called, but I'm out the door. Can I call you back later? But I need to talk to you now, came the sullen response. Lois, call back if you want to. Here are some better times. They said their goodbyes and hung up. Maybe Lois would call back, maybe not. More likely, Lois's other friends were all busy, and Sherry's name had come up next on the call list. Well, I'm sad that Lois isn't happy with me, Sherry thought to herself, but people probably weren't too happy with Jesus when he withdrew from them to be with his Father. Trying to take responsibility for Lois's feelings was trying to own something God never gave me. With that thought, she went to lunch. Thank you for the thumb, by the way. I see the thumb up. Thank you for liking my video. And by the way, when I'm done reading and we have a little bit of a discussion, if y'all want to, I'm going to go and do dishes. I'll bring you in there with me, and then you can kind of come around the house while I clean a little bit today as well. All right, 4 o'clock p.m. Sherry's afternoon passed fairly uneventfully. She was on the way out of the office when her assistant, Jeff Moreland, flagged her down. Without stopping her pace, Sherry said to him, "Hi, Jeff, can you leave me a message? I need to be on the road in 30 seconds. Frustrated, Jeff left to write the message. What a shift in the last few months. For Sherry's boss to be her assistant wasn't something she had expected. Yet when she had begun setting limits in her job and not covering Jeff's bases for him, Jeff's productivity had dropped dramatically. Jeff's irresponsibility and lack of follow through emerged. His own superiors had, for the first time, become aware that he was the problem. And I'm not talking about Jeff B here, so no clip videos being made about Jeff. I have no idea what he's like to work with. I've never worked with him, and I'm sure Sherry hasn't either. Although he might work with somebody named Sherry, so there could be some confusion if somebody pops in and doesn't read the title of the video and doesn't see me hold up the boundaries book. They had discovered that Sherry was the driving force behind the design department. She was the one who made things happen. While Jeff took credit for all the work, he let her do it while he talked to friends on the phone all day. Sherry's boundaries had done their job. They had exposed his irresponsibility. They had clarified where the actual hole in the wall was. And Jeff had begun changing. At first, he had been angry and hurt. He'd threatened to leave, but finally things had settled down a bit, and Jeff had actually begun being more punctual. He'd buckled down. The demotion had woken him up, let him see that he had been riding on the coattails of others. Sherry and Jeff still had their problems. He had a hard time hearing no from her, and it was difficult for Sherry to tolerate the resentment. But there was no way she'd trade problems with the Sherry who'd had no boundaries. 4:30 p.m. We're going through the whole day, by the way, just so you know. This is a fictitious person, I imagine. I don't know. It could have been based on a real person, for all I know. But it's in the boundaries book. It's not something I'm just randomly talking about, just so you know. Okay, the session with Todd's 4th grade teacher went well. For one thing, Walt had attended with Sherry. Knowing he was supportive made a lot of difference. But more important, the hard boundary work that Sherry and Walt were doing at home with Todd was beginning to pay off. Hold on a second. I'm getting a call randomly. Hello?
Hi, this is Jacob Strand. This call may be recorded. May I please speak with Laura?
Goodbye. Okay, that's my boundary. Bill collectors are not calling me. I will pay you when I have the money, period. Okay. Mrs. Phillips, said the teacher, I'll admit it, I took Todd with some reservations after consulting with Mrs. Russell, his 3rd grade teacher. But there is a significant improvement in your son's ability to respond to limits. Walt and Sherry smiled at each other. Believe me, Walt said, there was no magic formula. Todd hated doing homework, minding us, and taking responsibility for household chores. But consistent praise and consequences seem to have helped. The teacher agreed. They really have. Not that Todd's a compliant angel. He'll always speak his mind, and I think that's good in a child. But there's no major struggle in getting him to behave. It's been a good year so far. Thank you for your support as parents. 5:15 p.m. As Sherry fought the afternoon rush hour traffic, she felt strangely grateful for it. I can use this time to thank God for my family and friends and plan a fun weekend for us. 6:30 p.m. Amy walked into the family room right on time. Mother-daughter time, Mom, she said. Come on outside. Leaving the house, they started on their pre-dinner walk around the block. It mainly consisted of Sherry's listening to Amy chatter about school, books, and friends, all the things she'd yearned to be able to discuss with her daughter. The walk was always too short. It hadn't always been like that. After a Christian therapist had seen Amy and the family about her withdrawal, he'd noticed that Todd's misbehavior monopolized the family's attention. Amy wasn't a squeaky wheel, so she received less time with Sherry and Walt. Gradually, she'd withdrawn into herself. There just wasn't anyone in the house to give her anything. Her world had become her bedroom. Noting the problem, Sherry and Walt had made special attempts to make sure Amy was encouraged to talk about her issues, even if they weren't the crises Todd was in. Over time, like a flower opening up to the light, Amy began interacting with her parents once again. She was beginning to connect like a normal little girl would. The boundary work that Sherry and Walt did with Todd was part of Amy's healing process, too. I think that's beautiful. And I just wish I would have had more time to try to figure out my one daughter, and maybe I could have established that with her, but I really did do my best. When I would drive her to school, we would sit and talk in the car about teachers she didn't like or how she was doing in school, and I always encouraged her. I remember the one time we walked through Walmart and she said to me, "Mom, I'm afraid I'm always going to be sweet 16 and never been kissed because I'm too picky about the guys that I want to date." And to this day, she still has trouble trying to connect and stay connected with guys. And it's not their fault. She really needs to see a therapist and find out what it is about her that comes between her relationships, because it definitely does. Anyway, I think if she would heal things with me and reconcile instead of holding grudges that have lasted almost an entire of my lifetime since I've birthed her, that she might have a happier life overall, but she's not willing to do that. So what can you do? I'm open to it anytime. Anytime she wants to drop the guard and come to me and talk to me about how she's so angry at me that she can't even stand the sight of me and doesn't want anything to do with me more than she has to. If it wasn't for Carol, my eldest daughter, I probably would not have any relationship with my second eldest daughter. Carol's always been the mediator and told her, that's mom, you need to be nice and at least tolerant. So it is what it is. 7:00 p.m. Halfway through dinner, the phone rang. After the third ring, the answering machine screamed the caller. "Sherry, this is Phyllis from church. Can you pitch in for the retreat next month?" The answering machine was the answer to dinner's disruptions. The family's boundary was no phone conversations until dinner is through, and the family time at the table was richer for it. Sherry made a mental note to call Phyllis later that evening and regretfully declined. She and Walt were having a couples weekend during those days. It helped keep them honeymooning. Interestingly enough, when Sherry's boundary work had first begun, she'd started backing off from church commitments to sort out her chaotic life. Now, however, she was sensing more of a desire to be involved in a couple of ministries to which she felt called. It's like comforting as I've been comforted, she thought to herself, but she realized she'd probably never be as available to Phyllis as Phyllis wanted. But that was between Phyllis and God. Sherry was out of that particular loop. 7:45 p.m. The kids and Walt cleared the table. They didn't want to miss the next night's dinner any more than they had breakfast. 9:30 p.m. See how late this goes. I don't know how late she stays up. 10:15 is the latest this goes. So a few more little paragraphs here. And then I can get up and do my boundary, which is having my dishes done daily. Okay. 9:30 p.m. The kids were in bed with their homework assignments done. They had even had some playtime before bed. Walt and Sherry sat down together with a cup of coffee. They talked quietly about each other's day. They laughed over the goof-ups, commiserated over the failures, planned the weekend, and talked about the kids. They looked into each other's eyes, glad the other one was there. A miracle of miracles, and a hard-won one. Sherry had to go to therapy herself, along with joining a church support group. It had taken a long time to move out of her loving Walt out of his anger modality. Her boundaries had needed much practice with safe people before she was ready to confront her husband. And it had been a scary time. Walt hadn't known what to do with a wife who could set limits, who would say to him, "Just so you'll know in advance, it hurts me and distances me from you when you cruelly criticize me in public. If you continue, I'll confront you on it immediately. And I'll take a cab home. I won't live a lie anymore. And I will protect myself from now on." Here was a wife who would no longer take responsibility for Walt's tantrums and withdrawal, who would say, "If you won't talk to me about your unhappiness, I'll back off. I'll be with a couple of my friends if you want to talk." This was a difficult adjustment, for Walt was used to Sherry's drawing him out, soothing his ruffled feathers, and apologizing for being imperfect. Here was a wife who confronted his emotional distance with, "You're my first choice for intimacy. I love you, and I want to make you first in my heart. But if you won't spend time being close, I'll spend time in support groups at church and with the kids. But I won't be in the den watching you watching TV anymore. You'll have to microwave your own popcorn from now on." He'd threatened, he'd sulked, he'd withdrawn. But Sherry stuck to her guns. With help from God, her friends, her therapist, and her church support group, she'd withstood Walt's blusterings. He began to experience what it was like to not have her around and underfoot all the time, and he missed her. For the first time, Walt actually experienced his dependency on Sherry, how much he needed her, how much fun she was when she was around. He began to slowly, gradually fall in love with his wife again, this time a wife with boundaries. She changed too. Sherry stopped playing the victim with Walt. She found herself blaming him less. She was less resentful. Her boundaries helped her develop a full life that didn't need Walt to be as perfect as she wished. No, it wasn't an ideal marriage, but it felt more solid now, like an anchor in the storms. They were more like a team with mutual love and mutual responsibility. They were not afraid of conflict, they forgave each other's mistakes and respected each other's boundaries. 10:15 p.m. Lying in bed snuggled next to Walt, Sherry reflected over the past months of boundary work. She felt warm and grateful for the second chance God had given her. A passage of scripture came to her mind, one which she had read many times and knew well. It was the words of Christ from the Sermon on the Mount. Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are those who mourn, for they will be comforted. Blessed are the meek, for they will inherit the earth. Matthew 5:3-5. I'll always be poor in spirit, she thought, but my boundaries help me find the time to receive the kingdom of heaven. I'll always mourn the losses I suffer in this lifetime, but setting limits helps me find the comfort I need from God and others. I'll always be meek and gentle, but being a separate person helps me take the initiative to inherit the earth. Thanks, God. Thank you for the hope you gave me and for taking me and those I love along your path. It's our prayer that your biblical boundaries will lead you to a life of love, freedom, and responsibility and service. This is signed by Henry Cloud, John Townsend, Newport Beach, California, 1992. So it's an old book, but it was a good one. And I will be uploading the other chapters like boundaries with your spouse or husband or something like that. Boundaries at your job, all that good stuff. Anyway, so you didn't have to sit through all those other chapters unless you choose to go back and actually listen to them when I upload them. But you did get to sit through that last of chapters. And now I'm going to go do my dishes. So now is the time all of you who are bored and hate my reading can come on in and chat about whatever. I think my cats want some food, though. I also need to find out if anybody's outside. Nope, nobody's outside wanting to get in. Oh, it snowed last night, guys. Look. Look at the snow. Look at the snow. It snowed. It snowed. Yep. And it's cold. Although, I guess not as cold as it has been. What, guineas? Guineas want to say hi. There's Cherie and Bunny. And there's Feline. Hey, Fee. Say hi. Say hi. What do you guys want? More hay? You want some hay? Okay, let me give them some hay. Set you guys over here. Get them some hay. They like the hay. You eating your carrots or you just making a mangled mess of them? It's like you're just mangling them up. Oh well. You'll eat them if you're hungry, I guess. Let me get their water changed here. Get the water cleaned out. I will be right back. I need to dump this out. Get them some fresh water. And then I'm going to start my dishes shortly. Sink full plus a couple cooking instruments, like a pan. Look at Bobo trying to get into the guinea cage. Not going to work for you, Bo man. There we go. There. About their hideaway here. There you go, guys. Your ladies, the kitty cats are mostly guys, I think. All right. Okay. I'm going to take you over so I can do my dishes now. Come on in and chat if you like. Anybody that's home and not working at the moment. Come on in. Put away some stuff and get it out of off of the countertop here. Utensil drawer. Utensil block. trash go? Oh, put it out today. Yay. My garbage can. Garbage bags. Looks like we're getting low on those little suckers. Time to buy some more soon. 3 people. Hello, 3 people. Maybe you're the same 3 that have stuck with me through the whole torturous reading time. Okay. There may be somebody else's live right now that you'd rather listen to. That's okay. I checked to see if Jeff B was on before I went on because I don't like going on live when all my other favorites are on. I don't like to feel like I'm infringing somehow, you know. So I checked to make sure. But he wasn't on, so I thought, why not? I'll go on. Okay. Time to do the dishes. My 1 sink full. Plus I have my air fryer basket and my pot, and that's it. I'm done. So let's get our nice warm water in here, hopefully. Right now it's kind of cold. There we go. Now we got some warm happening. Okay. So I will just do my dishes. See if anybody comes in and wants to chat. If not, that's fine. I will head off like I always do. And I can always cut this end part off of my video if nobody does want to chat. Because there's no point in having a little tail end of chatlessness on the end of my boundaries video. So it's all up to you guys. You say you like these real life videos. So here's a little bit of real life dishwashing for you. I don't know. I don't think it's so much the real life stuff that you want as it is just listening to me banter. For some reason, people like hearing me talk endlessly about whatever. But I don't always have stuff to talk about. And right now, I really don't have much to talk about. Just getting my dishes done and hopefully doing a little bit of vacuuming today because the floors are starting to look kind of crummy again. And I always feel better with freshly vacuumed floors. I may do some laundry later if I can get the table and the washing machine hooked up. But with a little brace thing on my foot, I'm not sure I really want to try to move all that stuff. We shall see. I caught my finger this morning. I have no clue how I did it. It's clearly a knife cut because it's like a slit. So it must be when I grabbed for a knife this morning to cut up the carrots or something for the guinea pigs. I don't know for sure what it is. Not sure. It's not like super deep. It's deep enough that it stings a little bit when the water gets in it, but not anything detrimental to my health or anything like that. No hospital visits for me anytime soon. Okay. We ran out of litter for the kitty cats, so we've been using guinea pig bedding for litter. So if anybody's wondering if you have cats and you run out of litter, there's other things you can use. Some people have used like sawdust, newspaper, sand. I mean, there's different things you can use for cat litter. But the bedding works pretty nice. The cats use it. And it's not terribly hard to clean it either. So It's a nice little alternative if you run out of litter and you might not have the money to buy more and you have guinea pigs. Or even if you don't have guinea pigs, you could still buy the bedding and use it, I guess, if you have enough money for that. I think it's cheaper than the litter is. Just depends what you have to work with, I guess. What else is on this? Something hardened onto my plate. I really need to get that Dawn Power Wash stuff. There's nothing like that for getting hardened on stuff off of your plates. Oh well. So, like I said, I had quinoa, refried beans, and green beans for breakfast. I'm kind of leaning towards my chickpea pasta that I made last night for my lunch. I don't know what I'm going to have with it. Not really sure. Some kind of veggies. I have some fruit, some grapes that I have right here next to me. I technically should put in the fridge because they taste better when they're cold. That'll be my little snacky later. And then when we go shopping, there's some other fruits and stuff I can eat. If you haven't seen it, I did an interview yesterday on Jeff B's channel. I think he has it up there now. He asks me some questions about like how I came to YouTube and all that jazz. So I went on this thing. I can't remember what it's called, but it kind of helps you predict where your channel's going to be, like in the future or whatever. And sadly, it predicted that my channel's pretty much going to be in the same place it's in right now. With 7,000 whatever subscribers, no more than that. And good views, but not many subscribers. So I'm thankful for the views. Don't get me wrong. I like the views. But I guess subscribers mean, you know, people that keep coming back for more, basically. If I had to kind of translate it into what it actually means to me, I guess. So it's just basically saying that my channel is not one people keep coming back to, or one that new people come to, is what I'm trying to say. Not that they keep coming back, but that new people come to. And part of that could be it's hard to find it sometimes, and it depends on the video. People don't have a problem finding my videos, but they seem to have a problem finding the channel. And that could be because I changed my name, possibly. Don't know, really. It is what it is, I guess. So for whoever I'm here for, I'm here. You know, I think mostly the new people from Belgab that came over, those of many of them, which I am now pretty friendly with, they're here, you know. And maybe that's who I'm supposed to be here for at this time in my life. Maybe they were drawn by God to be here. And the other new people just weren't. And somebody else is drawing them. Like I guess Jeff was asking me yesterday, which was a really good question. Do I feel that because, or maybe it wasn't Jeff, I think it was Melly or somebody in the chat, said, do I feel that because narcissism has become such a rampantly used word, and there's so many videos out about it, do I feel like maybe that's why my channel's kind of, you know, not thriving like it was for a while? And I said, yeah, and I do believe that. Because it has become such a, you know, common thing on channels to talk about narcissism, and it's being incorporated into channels that have nothing to do with narcissism. But yeah, it's pretty popular. So I'm not the be-all and end-all of, you know, the YouTube set for the narcissism thing. At one point, you know, I was looked at as some kind of a genius guru or something. Like, oh my gosh, you know so much about narcissism. You're amazing. You're an expert. I felt like it back then, but now it's like I'm not the expert because there's people that have gone to school, college. They have like high degrees. They know way more than I do about that topic, especially the, technological aspects of it, or if you will. So I'm not the guru. I'm not the one that's looked at as the savior anymore. And I'm fine with that. It doesn't matter to me. Just saying. That's why my channel is not, going to come up first on the Google search for narcissism. Probably why I don't totally just talk about that all the time. Plus, I just don't have anything more new to say about it. It's horrible. Narcissism is awful. It's sad that people become narcissistic, usually because one of their parents or both of their parents have narcissistic tendencies. And it is what it is, as far as if you're brought up by them, chances are you probably have some traits of it yourself. Doesn't mean you are one, but it might mean that you look at life through those eyes somewhat, or through eyes of some kind of perfection that people can't attain, where you hold people to high standards or whatever. Yeah, I mean, that I think it would be more the exception rather than the rule that you don't turn out with some sort of traits of narcissism if you were raised in a narcissistic household. That's how I feel about that. Hey, Matt. I think I'm going to soak this pan. Let it sit here. Okay, well, there hasn't been any chat, so I'm guessing either people are not around. They usually come in and chat that are thrilled to see me. Oh, I caught you right. Ooh. Or people just plain are not in a chat mood. So, regardless of what the case, I am done with my dishes. I'm going to go check out my bedroom, but for the most part, all I need to do, look at this floor, it's nasty. All I need to do is vacuum today, for the most part. And I can't do that being online because you won't hear me, obviously. Thank you for the thumbs up, by the way. 2 thumbs up. So nice. Nice of you. So now we're in my bedroom. And I'm going to fold some clothes and put them into the drawers. I'm back in the pink room. I know a lot of you guys like the pink room. So I'm back in the pink room. I'm going to put some clothes away. Take them off the line. And off the dresser where they were left. Oh, that's my shirt. That's not his. But this might have been one of Matthew's shirts. I don't know, lately on YouTube, if you're not somebody that somebody can make a clip channel out of or a clip video out of, you're nobody. You're nobody important, nobody that anybody wants to know about. So I guess I'm kind of boring. I've gotten out of the crosshairs lately, and I'm cool with that. It's nice to be on here and have calm and peace instead of people mad at you or asking you dumb questions that are rude and put you on the spot, So, yeah. So, no complaints about that here. Okay. Socks, underwear. Just folding clothes and putting them away right now. Nothing more exciting than that. But I do think I'm probably going to end up moving my washer and dryer, putting it back so I can do some laundry today, maybe, if I have some time. Might make some time. And we'll see how that all goes down. Okay. So I'm going to show you guys something though. I rearranged my drawers. Like I minimalized. Remember the 33 clothing? It's going good, by the way. Wearing only 33 pairs of clothing. These are my shirts in here. My long underwears and my regular underwears there. And then I have like a fancy shirt there. And then here I have my soft bras, like my sports bras, and then my dark black socks, my colored socks, and my underwears. So everything is arranged. Isn't that cool? I can find everything. Sorry, buddy. Ow! The cat just used me as a launch pad. I have my pants down here, my heavier jeans and pajama pants down there. So everything is where it needs to be. Good morning, Memphis Mommy Mars. Look at this crazy cat. I don't know what he's doing. He's crawling up the wall. What are you doing, Bobo man? You hurt me with your back claws, dude. You jumped right on my back. That hurt. Oh, he's cute, but man, do those claws hurt. Owie. Okay, well, anyway, that's pretty much all everything is in its place, definitely. It's pretty much all I can talk about at the moment. I don't have anything else really to show you or do today. And Mommy Mars and I can talk individually on the phone. My phone is back on, by the way, Mommy Mars. Finally got it put back on. I got paid today, so got that taken care of, and I paid another bill, so all is well. I can't wait till tax time. It's coming up in March for us, and we can get some more bills caught up, and it will be a happy day for me. But for now, just want to let you know you can get a hold of me on my phone. Ouch. My poor back is all torn up from those cat claws. I told you guys I'm wearing my boot. See my boot? Isn't that pretty? Letting that foot heal pretty good. All right. Anyway, looks like a good even ratio here. We got 3 people, 3 thumbs. I'm good with that. I will sign off now and go and get my floors vacuumed. And Mommy Mars, you know where to get me if you need to talk to me. Because you're the only one that has talked to me the whole entire time. So there's no point in hanging on here and, waiting. So if you want to call me, give me a call. We can chat or whatever. Everybody have a blessed day, and I'll talk to you soon. Shalom.